You know what's terrifying, not the dark, not failure, not even losing someone. The real terror is being alone and realizing you can't stand your own company, that silence in your room feels heavy. Your phone's quiet, no texts, no calls, just you, and in that moment, most people panic. They run to distractions, scroll endlessly, chase meaningless attention, and drown themselves in noise because they're afraid of meeting themselves in the quiet. But here's the truth. If you can't be happy alone, you will never be truly happy with anyone else. If your worth depends on someone else validating you, you're a prisoner. You have to learn to stand tall in solitude, not as punishment, but as your fortress. The day you look in the mirror and say, "I'm enough, my presence fills this room, my energy builds my life," that's the day nobody can take your power. Alone is not empty. Alone is where you sharpen the blade. Alone is where you build the version of you the world will respect or fear. Mastering self-discipline when you are alone starts with one brutal truth: nobody is coming to save you. Nobody will drag you out of bed. Nobody will force you to work on your goals. Nobody will care as much about your dreams as you do. When you wake up in the morning and the only voice in your head says, "Stay in bed a little longer," self-discipline is the voice that cuts through that weakness. It's not about motivation. Motivation is a fleeting spark. Self-discipline is the fire that burns even when the wind blows. When you live alone or spend a lot of time in solitude, distractions become your biggest enemy. You will find endless reasons to waste time, but self-discipline forces you to ignore those temptations and stay locked in on what matters. It's the skill that separates those who drift from those who dominate. Self-discipline in solitude also means controlling the environment you live in. If your space is messy, your mind will be messy. If your routine is chaotic, your thoughts will be chaotic. When no one is around to judge you, it's easy to let things slide. Leave dishes in the sink, leave your bed unmade, delay your tasks until later. But those small lapses stack up until they form a habit of neglect. Discipline demands that you operate at a high standard even when nobody's watching, because that's when it matters most. Every time you force yourself to do what needs to be done without needing applause, you are building the mental armor that keeps you sharp in the world. Alone time is your training ground to prove to yourself that you can lead yourself without relying on external pressure. The power of self-discipline alone is that it rewires your relationship with time. Most people kill time without realizing they are killing their future. Hours vanish into meaningless entertainment, scrolling on a phone, binge, watching shows, or gossiping online. When you are disciplined, every hour is accounted for, every moment has a purpose. That doesn't mean you work every second without rest. It means you choose how to spend your time with intention, not impulse. You set your own deadlines and you hit them without needing anyone to check on you. When you live this way, you start to feel unstoppable because you're no longer at the mercy of laziness or distraction. Alone, with no one to hold you accountable, you become your own commander. Self-discipline is also about mastering your emotions when no one is there to keep you in check. In solitude, your feelings can overwhelm you: boredom, loneliness, frustration, even sadness. Without discipline, you will run to quick pleasures to escape those emotions: comfort food, endless entertainment, talking to people who add no value. But discipline teaches you to sit with discomfort and still act in alignment with your goals. You don't reward yourself just for existing. You earn your rewards by earning your progress. In a world that tells you to listen to your feelings, discipline tells you to lead your feelings. Alone, when your mind starts creating excuses, discipline is the force that shuts them down and makes you push forward regardless of mood. Discipline alone is not just about saying no to bad habits. It's about saying yes to the right habits over and over until they define you. Waking up at the same time every day, exercising even when you don't feel like it, learning something new instead of wasting hours, these are the daily battles that shape the person you become. When you are alone, it's easy to think, no one will notice if I skip this. But the truth is, you will notice. Your subconscious will notice. Every broken promise to yourself chips away at your self-respect, and every kept promise strengthens it. Over time, self-discipline becomes second nature, and you no longer debate whether to act, you just act, because it's who you are now. Building inner value when you are alone begins with realizing that the world respects results, not excuses. Nobody is going to hand you confidence, respect, or success. You have to earn it. Inner value is the invisible power you carry with you wherever you go. It's the knowledge, the skills, and the strength you have built when nobody was watching. When you spend time in solitude, you have a choice. Waste it numbing your mind with distractions, or use it as a forge to shape yourself into someone unrecognizable from who you are today. The people who seem magnetic, who walk into a room and command attention, are not lucky. They have invested years building themselves when nobody clapped for them. Alone, with zero audience, you have the chance to develop the depth that will make the world take notice. When you finally step into the light. Inner vow, you grows when you commit to learning relentlessly. Most people stop learning after school because they think they already know enough. That's why they stay stuck, replaceable, and forgotten. When you are alone, you have the rare gift of uninterrupted time to read, time to study, time to experiment and fail without the pressure of anyone judging you. You can master skills that make you valuable in any environment: speaking, writing, leadership, problem solving, technical expertise. Every hour you invest in your growth adds to the arsenal you carry for life. And here's the truth: skills don't just make you competent, they make you confident. When you know you have built yourself into someone who can create value anywhere, the fear of being alone disappears, because you know you can stand on your own in any situation. Building inner value also means building physical strength and health. Your body is the foundation for everything else you want to achieve. Alone time is not an excuse to neglect it. It's an opportunity to focus on it without distraction. When you push yourself in training, when you eat to fuel performance instead of emotions, you're not just shaping your body, you're building discipline, endurance, and self-respect. Strong people carry themselves differently, and the world feels it. You can't fake the confidence that comes from knowing you are capable, resilient, and hard to break. Every drop of sweat, every rep, every disciplined choice to treat your body like a weapon instead of a waste is adding to your inner value. The stronger you get, the less you depend on others to protect or validate you. Inner vow, you also grows from developing emotional strength and mental resilience. Life will hit you with rejection, loss, failure, and disappointment, and when you are alone, those hits can feel heavier. Without inner value, you'll crumble under that weight. But when you spend your solitude learning how to process pain without self-destruction, you become unshakable. You learn to use setbacks as fuel instead of excuses. You start to see challenges as training rather than punishment. Emotional strength means you don't break when relationships end, when people betray you, or when plans fall apart. Instead, you adapt, you rebuild, and you keep moving forward. People are drawn to those who can weather storms without losing their vision, and that strength is only built in the quiet hours when you face your battles alone, and when true inner value comes from creating something that outlives you: a body of work, a reputation, a legacy. When you are alone, you have the space to focus on building things that matter: a business, a craft, a body of knowledge, a project that solves real problems. Every day spent producing instead of consuming compounds over time, until one day people look at what you've built and call it talent or luck, without realizing the thousands of hours you spent in silence to get there. This is the secret. When you build inner value, you no longer need to beg for opportunities. Opportunities find you. Alone, you have the raw materials of time, focus, and freedom. The question is whether you will waste them, or use them to make yourself so valuable that the world cannot ignore you. When you strip away the noise, the people, the endless distractions, you are left with one undeniable reality: you and the life you've built for yourself. Being happy alone is not about isolation. It's about building such a solid foundation that no one can shake you. Self-discipline turns your solitude into a training ground, a place where you prove to yourself that you can lead your own life without excuses. It's where you hold yourself to high standards even when nobody is watching. It's where you decide that every action you take matters, because every choice is shaping the person you are becoming. Inner value transforms that discipline into power. It's the knowledge, skills, strength, and resilience you create in the quiet hours when no one's clapping. It's the confidence that comes from knowing you can stand on your own, that you can contribute, create, and thrive without leaning on anyone's validation. When you master discipline and build value, being alone stops feeling like a punishment and starts feeling like a privilege. You stop chasing temporary happiness in other people, because you have already found it in yourself. So take your solitude and use it. Sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, feed your spirit, and watch as the world begins to respect the person you've become. Never fear being alone, fear wasting the time that could have made you unstoppable. Thank you for listening, thank you for your time, and may you always have the courage to build yourself. God bless you.